Now I'm going to show you some groundwork that I do with pretty much every horse. The first is we're going to do a little bit of flexion here. Let me see if I can face him directly on you guys. So we've already worked on having him flex from the withers at lowering his head. He's got that down. And now he's playing with the bit. So this is what he used to do all the time. And it's not his fault. He was ridden in a halter for most of his life. He's very good in the halter. He's responsive. But I believe they should be able to be ridden in the bit also. So he already knows how to flex his head down, flex at the withers. You don't need to eat that. And that comes into play as far as riding, because the way your bridle is set up, and especially a curb bridle, the way it's set up is when you pull on the reins, it actually applies the pressure here behind the pole to encourage them to drop their head. And if your horse's head is dropped, they're going to be more relaxed and willing to take your orders. The other way that they should flex is flexing at the atlas. So the atlas joint is located right here behind the ears. And what we want is, if this is their neck and this is their head, we want them to turn their head without flexing the neck. That's flexing at the atlas. So what I'm going to do, if you were working with a horse that was okay with the bit, you would be holding the bit during all these maneuvers. But like I said, I'm just going to let him wear the bit and use the halter. So you put your hand against his neck and you're going to pull on the bit just a little bit and press with your hand on his neck. If he moves, that's okay. Let's try again. He's distracted and looking at you guys. So pretty soon a change is going to cut there. That's the change. Did you see how he came around? So while you're doing this, I'm going to back him up. While you're doing this, not only are you looking for him to physically flex at the atlas, but you're looking for him to turn his ear on you. You're looking at his eye. If you can see the white of his eye, he's looking off to the right, and you want him to be looking at you. So, again, apply the pressure, pulling on the bit hand, pushing on the neck hand. There, you see that change? And as soon as he flexed, did you know notice he also dropped his head and got relaxed? That's why we do this. It's not necessarily for the maneuver, but it's going to help him relax. And if he's relaxed, he's not trying to fight me. So again, and all this tongue stuff, I just ignore. He'll get over it. And I apply the pressure. There. See, he got better that time. Now anything you do on one side, you do on the other. There's a couple reasons for this. The first is you want your horse to be balanced. You don't want a horse that's only right-handed or only left-handed. The second is horses have two minds. So you see he got worried there? I'm just not going to take the pressure off until he can relax. So I'm asking him to put his head down. There. All right. Yeah, there's tables in there. Now, good thing I was standing at his shoulder. And he says, I don't want my blind spot on those tables with that wind picking up. So you want to do things on both sides because horses have essentially two brains. Now here again, I'm not going to take the pressure off until number one, he stops, and number two, he drops his head. So I'm just pulling down on the halter. He's almost there. Steady pressure on the halter. And see, now he's breathing, he's relaxing a little bit. We'll come again. So see, he doesn't want to stand with his butt there, his blind side to the scary tables that are in there. That's okay, I'll bring him around. Now this is, when you're working with a horse, this is an example of you can't have too much of an agenda. When a problem comes up like this, you have to deal with it right away. You can't be like, oh, well, tomorrow we'll work on the scary tables. No, he's scared of them right now, so we got to just kind of work with this. Now he's more accepting. You notice he's got his head a little lower. He's playing with his bit. So you work on both sides of the horse because they have two brains. And you'll find out that usually horses are better to the left than to the right. They say the mane falls on the weak side. So his weak side would be the right. I don't know if that's scientifically proven, but it seems to hold true with what I've found. So with him, I might say, okay, I'm going to take twice as long on the right side. And that's okay, but in the end, I get a balanced horse. So we'll do flexion at the atlas. Again, normally you'd be holding onto the bit and doing this with the bit, because you want to get him ready if you were going to ride him with the bit. But right now he's just learning how to handle that. So I'm going to pull on the bit hand, push on the neck hand, just a little. It's not a lot of pressure. He's distracted. Pretty soon he's going to look at me and flex and relax and put his head down. I'm not increasing the pressure, I'm just waiting. He's distracted, there. And again, as soon as he gets distracted, go back. Just a little bit of pressure, there. You see that change? And he blinked, he got soft, he relaxed. He's distracted again, so we go back. He came over almost right away that time. He's distracted, put the pressure on. It's about 2 ounces of pressure. If you do any more than that, they're going to get their head twisted around and they're going to fight it. It's just enough so that they know it's there. Put the pressure on. There. You see the change in his eye? He gets quiet, he blinks, and then he plays with his tongue. See how it's taking less and less each time? And you notice how I also back up? That's kind of reinforcing the release. He's distracted. Put the pressure on. There. So I released when he started to flex, and then he finished and did the flexion on his own. He's distracted. There. See, right away, when I put my hand on that halter, he blinked his eyes and he got soft. So he's starting to understand that if I relax when I feel pressure, it all goes away. And that's what I want him to learn with the bit. You see the change in his face? Now, as long as they're kind of with me and not distracted, I let him have a break. Now he's distracted. I'm going to wait. I'm looking at his eye. Right now he's looking off to the left. That was a little bit of a change, but he didn't quite relax. Almost. He relaxed, but he didn't flex. Now he's getting playful. I still haven't taken the pressure off yet. It's going to come here pretty fast. I'm looking at his eye and his ear right there. And you'll feel a lot with your hand. If they're trying to fight you or distracted, their neck is going to be tense. Now I'll bring them back around. So I'm not necessarily trying to stop him from moving, but I'm going to put him back to where I want him to be. So let's try again. He's a little distracted. There. And you notice how when he flexed, he put his head down because he relaxed. So that is possibly one of the most important flexions you can do, is flexing at the atlas. Because what it's getting them ready for is when you're back here riding and you say, hey, let's go to the right, you want him to relax when he goes to the right. So this is building in the foundation to say, when you feel me pulling on this bit, that was very good. He relaxed, he dropped his head, he flexed. So that would be a good spot to stop on, because that was the best one. And it's the release that teaches him. So he's going to say tomorrow, oh, when I relaxed and flexed and dropped my head, then we didn't have to do any of this anymore, Mr. Board.